Now this is just a small review for each Fallout game starting from Fallout 3 all the way to 76. I'll talk about the gameplay, the story, and overall feel and atmosphere of each game, and also the creative direction of each game. So starting with Fallout 3, this is definitely the darkest game in the series. It features a very depressing post-apocalyptic world where there is death at every corner. There is no satire, no humor, nothing. Now, the gameplay of this game is very simple. You have your ballistic weapons, your energy weapons, and your melee weapons. The ballistic and energy weapons are just point and click. You aim and you fire. There's nothing to it. The melee weapons are also very simple, not very responsive, and are basically a last resort if you run out of ammo. Now, this is an RPG, so how the game handles RPG elements is very crucial. You have your special attributes, which are basically strength, perception, endurance, etc., etc. Each attribute changes something in your character. So if you have all your attributes in charisma, you'll be able to persuade people more. However, you'll be useless in combat. And if you level up strength, you'd be good with a melee weapon, but not so much with a ballistic weapon. Now, when you level up, you get one perk point. That perk point you can use to level up a specific perk, not an attribute. Perks are weapon specific or character specific attributes. Basically, when you get a perk point, you can use that perk point to become a better hacker, or become a better gunslinger with pistols, or become a better rifleman, or deal more damage with energy weapons, etc., etc. There are also perks for defense, perks for specific enemies like ghouls and deathclaws, and there is a specific perk that makes you level up one attribute point, one special attribute point. So you can spend that perk point to level up maybe strength, agility, luck, intelligence, etc., etc. It's also worth mentioning that some perks are locked unless you reach a specific level in an attribute. So basically, if you have low intelligence, you won't be able to get the hacker perk. Or if you don't have luck, there are specific perks you can't get. So leveling up your attributes also determines the future of your character. Now, in terms of the world is very rich. It has a ton of things to do, tons of quests, tons of characters, and the quests in this game are very changing. Like, you can play a certain way and then play another character a certain way, and both of them will have different outcomes. For example, Megaton is the big town you'll encounter in this game, and it has an unused nuke or a failed nuke right in the middle of the town. Now you can choose to detonate it and doom the whole town, or you can try to disarm it and save the whole town. Each choice unlocks new quests and also makes you experience or lets you experience different outcomes and different scenarios. Also, characters will like you more depending on what you'll do. Some characters will like you if you're evil and you detonate the bomb, or the good characters will like you more if you save them. So overall, this game is pretty good. However, it's very clunky and not very well optimized. So as far as rating goes, I'll have to give it a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. Now, moving on to New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas is basically Fallout 3, but a little bit lighthearted. This game has tons, and I mean tons of content. It has tons of weapons, tons of new enemies, tons of quests, tons of characters. This game is basically endless. Now, this game uses the same engine, of course the creation engine, but I mean the same branch of creation engine Fallout 3 used. So it's gonna have the same clunk, the same aiming, the same feel. However, this game has different atmosphere. New Vegas is a desert, while Fallout 3 is basically a city, a normal city that is now ruined. So Fallout New Vegas is a desert where it's mostly empty space until you reach New Vegas. Now, the pros and cons of this change in style is that the game has a lot of places condensed in the middle of the map, because that's where New Vegas is, and New Vegas is huge. There are a lot of places to explore here. However, outside of New Vegas, the places are far from each other. Like, there's a lot of empty spaces you'll have to traverse to reach the content, to reach the places you want to explore. Now, this is actually a good thing, because in Fallout in particular, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. You might get a lot of weapons, a lot of new weapons. You don't know what to use. You might get a lot of quests. You might see the areas you've discovered, and you haven't even went to any of them because you just keep discovering areas each time you walk a bit, and it's quite overwhelming. However, here I didn't feel that. It's very spaced out, but it's not to the point that it's a walking simulator. Now, I won't talk about the RPG elements or the gameplay because it's basically Fallout 3. Okay? Here, the story and characters and interactions between characters are very branching. It's like you can play the game 100 times and not see every outcome. There are tons of NPCs you can interact with and lots of options, and your options have real weight to them. Now, Fallout 76 is by far the worst optimization in the series. This game crashes, this game stutters a lot, and this game drops in frames regularly. To the point is, it actually can become unplayable on certain hardware. So, this game, I don't recommend playing it unless you know it will work for you. In terms of rating, I'll give this game an 8 out of 10, because yes, it is better than Fallout 3. You're getting more content here, you're getting more things to do, but also that content is more meaningful. However, I can't give it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 because of that optimization issue. Now, next up is Fallout 4. This is by far the most streamlined game in the series, and by that I mean it's how do I say this? It's like the Call of Duty of Fallout. The gameplay, the gunplay is very similar to modern FPS shooters. The RPG elements are very toned down, and I mean very toned down. You know, at times it almost doesn't feel like an RPG. Now, Fallout 4, unlike Fallout New Vegas, it is also a city like Fallout 3. Now, it is Boston, and if you know Boston, you know it's a very, very, very crowded city. And I don't mean people, I mean buildings, and it shows here. Like, if you're anywhere close to the middle, not even the middle, like unless you're at the outskirts of the map, you'll get bombarded by areas. Each time you walk, you'll see a message saying you've discovered a new place, you've discovered a new place, you've discovered a new place, to the point that it doesn't even feel meaningful anymore. It's like, okay, I discovered a new place, but I don't want to explore it. I just don't. Now here, the game has a very light atmosphere. It's almost as if it's telling you there's hope. It's telling you that everything is alright. When you boot up the game, you'll find that everything is just so bright, so colorful, so happy, even if everything around you is ruined. Now, this game it introduces the power armor very early, like basically the first mission you'll get the power armor, and this is just very stupid. The power armor wasn't a late game or even an end game thing in Fallout 3. Here it's basically just an asset you can use at any time. The progression in Fallout 4 is much weaker here. Fallout 4 has enemies that honestly just die so quickly, and you can become very overpowered very easily. It's just like the only threat, I can't even say the death claws are a threat. The death claws here are very slow, very stupid, and very easy to kill. However, the biggest threat in Fallout 4 are the Mirelurk Queens. However, Mirelurk Queens are very rare. You won't even see them half the time. Like, you can play through the whole game and not even see them. And yes, they are very strong, they are very overpowered, and they can kill you in one hit. However, they're very rare. The game also has this a very weak selection of weapons. The weapons here, yes, there are a lot of weapons, but they're so bad. The animations, the reload animations, the aesthetics, everything about the weapons are just so bad. It's such a downgrade from Fallout New Vegas. This game also doesn't have the branching interactions of Fallout New Vegas. Here, whatever you say, it'll always go to the same outcome. Yes, you can say a lot, there are a lot of dialogue options, but at the end of the day, it's the same outcome. And it's such a shame, because this game is pretty good. The gunplay is pretty good. The world at times is pretty good. Everything about this game is great. It's just held back by stupid design choices. And also, a very strange design choice is to make everything colored the same. Like, if you look at a certain part at any given moment in the game, you feel like everything just blends together. Enemies do not pop out from the environment. You're just staring at what seems to be a smudge, a colored mess. Like, there's absolutely no way you can see an enemy before he sees you, unless you're really paying attention. And it sucks because aiming in this game is very tight. The hitboxes in this game are very tight, and that doesn't really translate well when everything is just so blurry, so smudgy. However, this game has a lot of content. Like Skyrim, like Fallout New Vegas, this game is basically endless. You can't possibly or practically do everything in this game. And yes, the content is pretty good, the quests are pretty good. However, it's just not replayable as Fallout New Vegas, not even replayable as Fallout 3. And that's a very weird design choice. I mean, I don't know why they did it like that, but whatever. I'll give this game a 7 out of 10. Now, moving on to Fallout 76. Now, Fallout 76 is basically an extension of Fallout 4. However, this game, at least in 2025, after the updates, after the optimization, after the content updates, this game is infinitely better than Fallout 4. And I mean that infinitely. This game is basically the best of everything. You have the light-hearted feeling, or the light feeling of the Fallout 4, of the world of Fallout 4, and you also have aspects from Fallout New Vegas and even some from Fallout 3. This game, its RPG elements is more akin to old school RPGs, where you have a small, I mean, a smaller number of perk points you can get per character. So your build is very specialized in this game. Like, you can't do a build that is good for everything, at least not as easily. So, what's with the gameplay? The gameplay in Fallout 76 is very similar to Fallout 4, however there's no stopping time. The game is always online, so it's a bit fast-paced. The game, because it's online, most of the mobs you'll encounter are trash mobs. And this is very common in MMORPGs, and very massively online games. The mobs you'll encounter in the world are pretty weak, and they just serve as something you do while making it to the quest, or as farming. The real danger and the real gameplay happens in either the quests or the dungeons. And also, sometimes you'll encounter a special elite monster like the Scorch Beast. Death Claws here are far more dangerous than Fallout 4, and the Wendigos. The Wendigos are quite terrifying. Now, the difficulty spikes very hard in the dungeons. In the pit specifically, the pit where there are a lot of like those Wendigos that run around, like, if you're not careful you can insta-die. You can die instantly. Now, this game has a lot of weapons. It basically has all the weapons from Fallout 4 and then more weapons throughout the updates. The weapons here, the new weapons at least, are pretty good. They are not amazing, but they're pretty good. The customization here for your weapons and stuff is pretty good. It's taken from Fallout 4, however they added something that was much needed: the ability to remove a legendary attribute from a weapon and then put it on another weapon. That wasn't in Fallout 4, you had to mod it in, but now it's in vanilla Fallout 76. Here, yes, you can pay for a subscription, but this game is far from pay to win. It is seriously very optimized for the... It's not even free to play. This game is pay to play, but what I'm saying is it's not pay to win at all. What you're buying when you're buying the subscription, you're buying the ability to play offline. I don't think it's even offline. I think it's just a private world, so I don't think it's offline. You're paying for more storage. However, throughout my 80 to 100 hours of playtime, I didn't really encounter an issue with the storage. This game also has building, which you can subscribe to unlock more things you can build with. However, most of this stuff you can unlock with playtime, and it's not grindy at all. It's just normal playtime. The quests in Fallout 76 after the update that added interactions is pretty similar to Fallout New Vegas, which is pretty nice. It's not as branching, but it's very branching. That's all I'm gonna say. It's very branching. You can start helping someone, and then like that person asks you to kill someone, so you go and to kill that person. Then that person tells you not to kill him, and then he gives you a reward if you join him, and then join him, and then go kill the first guy you took the quest from. Like, that dynamic is pretty important for the immersion. Also, the music is pretty good. I know it sounds like I'm glazing this game, but I'm not. It's just, it has a lot of things done right. Like, when I'm playing Fallout 4, I don't really care for the music. Not even Fallout New Vegas, not even Fallout 3. However, here the music is center stage. It's pretty nice. The world of Appalachia suffers from the same problem of Fallout 4, where everything seems to have the same color. However, it's more tolerable here because there are more colors. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but in Fallout 4 the color palette is pretty limited. Like, it's almost as if there are only shades of gray, like light gray, dark gray, medium dark gray, that's it. However, in Appalachia there is red, yellow, green, everything, just everything. Also, the map size is very large, and that's expected. Fallout maps are massive. Fallout 4 map is very huge, but since it's an online game, it's a live service game, it's getting content updates, Appalachia is the biggest map in all of the Fallout series, and also has the most content in the Fallout series. Now, when it comes to the optimization, when I said that Fallout New Vegas is the worst optimization in the series, I actually lied. This is the worst optimization in Bethesda history. Worse than Skyrim, worse than Oblivion, even worse than Oblivion Remastered. It is the worst optimization in any game ever. Like, you can have a GPU that is capable, but this game is very CPU bound. Being CPU bound is very strange because this game doesn't look even that good. Yes, it sometimes can look decent, but it's not up to date. Not even up to date from 2018. This game was released in 2018, and with this graphics, like, it's unacceptable. It's unforgivable they haven't used the new engine. Even the Creation Engine 2, which Starfield is made with, it's multi-threaded. It's better multi-threaded because they're both multi-threaded, but Starfield is better. Now, this translates in game to basically stable 60 FPS, even 140 FPS on the RX 580. So on paper it's very optimized, but move around a bit, and if your CPU isn't beastly, you'll encounter not even stutters, not even momentary stutters. It's full on 20 FPS drops that lasts forever. And it doesn't go away and then never returns. No, it's like there are hot spots in the map. Hot spots, if you go to that spot, the game will get 20 FPS. Get out of that hot spot and the game returns to 100 FPS. Go back to that hot spot and it drops down to 20 FPS. Even looking at the hot spot will cause the frames to drop dramatically. And it's not even like a smooth drop too. Like, sometimes it is jarring that it hurts. It hurts the eyes. So, in terms of rating, this game does a lot more right than it does wrong. However, what it does wrong is very unforgivable. So I really can't push myself to give it more than a 7. Even on paper, this game is a 10 out of 10. and I'm sure if the engine was great and the optimization was better, that this game would get like at least a 9 out of 10, at least be nominated for Game of the Year. However, in this state, it is a disappointment, but it still is a good game. So, which one should you play in 2025? Now, it's worth noting that Fallout 76 is banned from a few countries. In my country specifically, which is Egypt, this game is banned, so I'll have to use a VPN, which further hinders the performance. However, if you're in a country that it's not banned in, then I recommend this game. However, this is not what I'm asking. I'm asking which one should you play. So, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas are very unoptimized on newer hardware. Even if they are very good games, I don't think they'll run well on like a 50 series card or a 90 series card and AMD. Fallout 4 is a pretty good one, but it's overshadowed by the things that 76 does. However, that doesn't mean Fallout 76 is the one you should play. Fallout 4 is good if you want like a very single player focused game where everything is more meaningful. Like 76 has a lot of content, but it is spaced out content. It is content that isn't communicating. Like, there are a lot of content for building, and then content for say cooking maybe, and then content for building weapons, content for questing and stuff like that, but it isn't adherent together. It isn't made to support each other. It's basically content for the sake of content, which is good. It is good if you want an experience that is fulfilling and massive. If you want to just open a game and have fun in a world that is never ending, in literally a gigantic scale of a game, then Fallout 76 is good. However, if you want less content but more meaningful and more robust, more communicating, connected with each other, then Fallout 4 is the better game. Fallout 4 has a lot of things that complement each other, while 76 has a lot of things, like a lot of things, but they aren't connected whatsoever. So, the final verdict is Fallout 76 if you want a huge experience and you don't care about narrative and story and all of that. Fallout 4 is for if you want a narrative and a story that is well written, adherent, and coherent. So, and also if you like the shows, then Fallout 76 is the game for you, because the new update will add the ghoul, and Appalachia is sort of like the movie. I mean the series, not the movie. So, see you later. Goodbye.